Hello, and welcome once again to the PodCase Podcast, where we answer your questions about personal injury cases. I am your host, Rusty Messer, here in Baton Rouge. Our co host today is Maria, our client support specialist at Big River Trial Attorneys. So, the question that we have today, of course, we get lots of questions, but I thought this one was very interesting and very timely. So, who will pay for the vandalism to your Tesla? You've probably seen in the news people getting arrested all over the country. People are spray painting these vehicles, throwing bricks at them, breaking glass. Of course, there's political motivation, maybe jealousy behind it. Who knows? Maybe you, as our listener and our viewer, you don't really care about the politics behind it. You just like your car, but you want to know if something happens to your car, who is going to pay for the damages? All right. So the first thing to think about is, can you hold the person who did the damage responsible? And yes, you can. It is actually a crime to damage your Tesla. In Louisiana, it is criminal damage to property. If the damage is less than $999, it is a misdemeanor. If it is over 1,000, which it probably is, because it's not hard to do more than $1,000 worth of damage to a vehicle these days, now that person is looking at a felony charge. And so you can hopefully rest assured that they will be caught, prosecuted, and maybe even go to jail. And as satisfying as that would be to see them in jail, it does not really help you get your car fixed. The DA's office can make restitution part of their sentence. So if they go there and they plead guilty or they go to trial and they get convicted, the DA can ask for restitution and the judge can come to you, or the DA will come to you and say, hey, give us your repair bill. And you'll say, look, I spent $3,000 fixing my car. And the judge might say, all right, well, in addition to the year that you have to do in jail, Mr. Vandal or Miss Vandal, you also have to pay back $3,000 for the damage that you did.
And what is the likelihood of the person actually paying?
Unfortunately, that is pretty slim. If your car was vandalized by some deadbeat loser who had nothing else to do but go around messing up other people's property, they probably don't have a lot of money. And even if they do have the money, it's very slow to have someone move through the criminal justice system. So they might damage your car today, 8, 9 months, a year from now, their case gets resolved and they get that order of restitution. Well, in the meantime, you had to get your car fixed. So another option, probably the most common option after looking past the person who actually did the damage, is looking to your own car insurance. So vandalism is typically covered under what they call comprehensive insurance. This is an optional coverage, but you may have selected it when you bought the policy. And I can tell you, if your car is financed through a bank or some other lender, you almost certainly have comprehensive insurance because they all require it. Now, one of the downsides of comprehensive insurance is you are going to have to pay your deductible. 500, 1,000, whatever deductible you selected when you bought that policy. So your car gets vandalized. You bring your Tesla to the body shop and they say, all right, well, we can fix this, but it's going to cost $2,500 and you have a $500 deductible. You're going to pay that first $500 out of pocket. Then your insurance should step up and pay that next $2,000.
Will making a claim on my insurance raise my rates?
Very good question. A lot of people are very concerned about that. They don't want to use their own insurance because they're afraid it's going to push their rates up. In Louisiana, when you make a claim on your own insurance, as long as you are not at fault, it does not raise your rates. So that covers situations like this where there was vandalism, and it also covers situations like making a claim on your own uninsured motorist coverage. So that wouldn't really apply with what we're talking about today. But when you make a claim on your own insurance, as long as you were not the one that caused the damage that you're claiming for, it does not raise your rates. Now, unfortunately, if you don't have comprehensive and you only have what is called liability insurance, that's sort of that minimum level of coverage you can get. You can typically only get that when your car is fully paid for and not financed. If all you have is liability insurance, you are going to have to pay out of pocket for those repairs. If you're just carrying liability, your insurance is not going to step in and help pay for that. Now, if you are unfortunate enough to have your Tesla vandalized, let's talk about some of the evidence that you're going to want to get. Now, as a Tesla owner, you have access to something called Sentry mode. It's a built-in security system that records video whenever it depicts suspicious activity near the vehicle. So if your Tesla has been vandalized, make sure that you save and back up that footage right away. You're going to want to give it to the police. You're going to want to give it to the insurance company. And if you decide to file a civil claim, which you can, against the person who caused the damage, you're going to want to use it in that civil claim. Now, again, depending on the assets that person has, a civil claim may be a waste of time, but it may be something you want to pursue. Getting this evidence can make all the difference when it comes to proving your claim.
If someone has been the victim of vandalism, what steps should they take?
So first off, document everything. Take photos of the damage. Make sure you get that Sentry photo that we talked about. Get photos of the vehicles around you. Get photos of the parking lot. Make sure that you're going to want to call the police. You're going to want to file a police report. Even if the damage seems minor, you're going to want to create that official record. If it's minor damage, the police may not even come out. They just may take your statement over the phone, but they're going to give you a report number. You're going to want to write that down because you're going to want to go get that report later. Of course, if it's more serious, the police may come out. They may check for fingerprints. They may do things like that. Sometimes they can check for the surrounding businesses to see if there was video footage there. If the damage happened in front of an ATM machine, the ATM machine has a camera. I've seen police pull that video before and use it. So document everything. Make sure you file a police report. And if you are fortunate enough to have comprehensive insurance, make sure you notify your insurance company, make a claim with them, find out what your deductible is and how much it's going to cost you out of pocket to get this fixed. And probably the last important step, or another very important step, if the police do catch the person, and if the district attorney's office prosecutes that person, make sure you stay in touch with the DA's office so they know what your damages are, that they have a copy of your repair bills. You never know when that person who did that might win the lottery one day or inherit some money, and a few years later, you get your money. You just never know. All right. Thank you all once again for tuning into the PodCase Podcast, where we answer your questions about personal injury cases. Thank you to our watcher who submitted this. Thank you to our viewer who submitted this great question. Again, we love talking about personal injury cases. It may not seem exciting to you, but it's very exciting to us. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the PodCase Podcast. Until then, be safe.